Hey everyone, it's John here from Hot Take Hockey, back with another video, and this video is going to be a Seattle mock expansion draft. I'm going to go through the lineup possibilities and just do another one of these videos. I've done a few already, probably like 3 or 4, and I just thought we haven't done one in a few months, and now we're in March, and trade deadline's coming up. There's a lot of kind of thought around the Seattle expansion draft, so I thought I would make a video. So if you are new, welcome, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Watch till the end of the video and let me know what you think about my selections and possibilities. So let's go right into it and talk about the roster. Again, this is a very rough roster I selected. Things have changed a little bit and I want to go over it. So Van Riemsdyk, Henrique, Backlund, you know we have to kind of take guys, if you're Seattle, you have to take guys with some higher cap. And I think with Philly, Van Riemsdyk's had a really good year. Now, if I'm looking at Seattle's perspective, just a couple more years on that contract, that could be worth it. Like, to bring in a guy like that you think can score 20 to 25 goals, it'd be worth it. And for me, it's kind of what they did with James Neal. Like, they brought in James Neal, and he was the guy that can put up some goals, and he was kind of like a bigger name. So I could see JVR being that. Henrique is kind of turning it around since waivers. I think I could see that being a fit. Backlund as well. Calgary's going to have to figure things out. Maybe they protect 4 defensemen. Then you go through the list. Andreas Janssen, only a couple years there. He could be a nice piece in the top 9. Jared McCann, Colin Sissons, Jake Virtanen. A nice reset. Nice restart for him. Anders Bjork. I actually like Bjork's speed a lot. He showed sign with the Bruins. Maybe a bigger opportunity. Who knows? Jason Dickinson. Johan Larsson. Good bottom 6 guys. Nicholas Paul. Nick Paul's looked really decent for the Sens. And then you kind of look at some RFAs there. Stenlund, Gauthier, Moore, Smith, and Gambrell. I've actually really liked Gambrell's game with the Sharks lately. Then you go to defense. Again, there's different options, but I like this forward group. And then you look at defense, as I said, Dumba, Montour, Zadorov. You're already seeing some big names there. The defense for Seattle, I think, regardless of what happens, is going to be huge. Dumba. I don't think Minnesota's going to... Well, Minnesota's going to do what they can to keep him, and they're going to probably give some incentives. So right now, I think it's unlikely they get Dumba, but with how certain guys have played, like Eriksson Ek, Greenway, like, they don't want to lose these young guys. And Dumba is only still 26, but if they feel like Dumba is going to walk, or like maybe they trade him to Seattle, I can see Dumba still ending up on Seattle in a different way. Montour, he'll be a UFA, so it's one of those things, like, if they feel like they can sign him. Ryan Graves could be the guy there. Like, I'm just looking at Colorado. They have some decisions to make. I feel like one of Graves or Devon Taves, like one of those guys probably end up in Colorado, or end up in Seattle from Colorado. And then Chernak, Justin Hall. I mean, a lot of Leaf fans have talked about it. Seattle definitely probably, like, they probably claim either Hall or Dermott, but unless the Leafs give an incentive. Same thing with the Blues. Like, maybe they leave one of the forwards, which is like, it could be Sanford, it could be Sammy Blais, but I think they'll try to prioritize keeping those guys, and maybe might be a mistake offering up Vince Dunn, but we'll see. Scott Mayfield, Hayden Fleury, Nathan Beaulieu, and Caleb Jones could be an underrated one there. And then goalies. Jake Allen, Chris Drieger. After making this and then, like, seeing Chris Drieger play a little recently, he's, like, up and down. He has his stretches. So, but I think Chris Drieger could be an option, a cheap option. Jake Allen, I like that potential for Seattle. And then Vanacek, he's had a decent season. So these are options there. I still think there's a high potential that they could look at Holtby, picking Holtby, and maybe having a tandem of Holtby and Allen. Or, like, there's other goalies out there that they could look at. I know there'll be free agents like an Antti Ranta they could look at. So there's options there. But I will now look at some line combinations and some roster. I haven't really done this too much with my videos, but trading Chernak and Justin Hall. I think they're going to do what Vegas did in trading a couple defensemen early on. And I think with Chernak and Hall alone, you could get a decent amount of pieces there. And then sign Mike Hoffman. I think you'd want to sign a guy in free agency or bring a guy in. Mike Hoffman could be that. So looking at the defense options here. So I'm looking at these defense options. I think your top 4, if Montour can be consistent, is pretty, like, I would say it's pretty close to average, maybe even above average, with depending on how Dunn and Graves play. And then Jones and Mayfield, pretty underrated bottom pair. I like Scott Mayfield for a bottom pair role, and Caleb Jones I think can grow. And then you have Zadorov and Hayden Fleury in that picture too. So maybe you trade even more guys. Maybe you move on from, like, a guy like Zadorov. But even if you had a bottom pair of Zadorov and Mayfield, it's pretty solid. And then Allen, Drieger, and Vanacek. And then your forwards. JVR, Henry, Kaufman. Pretty decent top line. I mean, I'm seeing worse right now in the league. Backlund, Johnsson, McCann, Dickinson, Bjork, Paul, Moore, Gambrell, Sissons. I would say pretty solid bottom six. Second line isn't great, but all it takes is to bring in like one more elite, like an elite player in there. Hoffman, you have JVR, like could be a team that battles for a playoff spot. So I think the expectation with Seattle is to make the playoffs because it's so easy to look at what Vegas did. But I think a lot of teams have learned, and they've made their moves according to this expansion draft, and they've been smart with it. So that's why I'm thinking more, this is the time where I don't think Seattle will go for a run. I think they could push for a playoff spot. But now that we've learned everything we have with Vegas and how things kind of went down, it would have to take a similar thing to happen. Like Seattle would have to do so many incentives with different teams, get some hidden gems, plus the guys they select. So that's what would have to happen. Like, we can throw out two examples. The fact that they got Tuck and Holla out of Minnesota. The fact that they got Riley Smith and Marceau out of Florida. Those type of things would have to happen. And then out of Anaheim being so scared of giving up one of their defensemen and one of their forwards, I think it was like Silverberg. They didn't want to give up Silverberg. They didn't want to give up like Manson, whatever it was. They didn't want to give these guys. They just gave Vegas Shea Theodore. Unless those things happen, like this is what the lineup's going to look like. Or maybe not close to this, but I would say in terms of like structure. Like you're not going to have stars here. You're not going to have guys that are going to go on crazy breakouts like Vegas had. You're seeing it right here. Like JVR and Hoffman are the guys that can put up points. I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be JVR and Hoffman, but you're going to have a couple players like that. The bottom six is all going to be proven guys. Like Nick Paul has been trying to prove himself. Bjork's been trying to prove himself. Trevor Moore has been trying to prove himself. Gambrell is now proving himself a little bit. And then Sisson's a little bit of a rough season. But that's kind of the structure I see for the Seattle expansion draft. So I just wanted to make a quick one. I'll do an updated one probably around the trade deadline. So I wanted to make a short one just to discuss how I see it right now. So after the trade deadline, I might make a new one, depending on what moves were made. If a lot of moves were made, I might make a new one. And then obviously closer to the expansion draft, I will make one final one. So I might make one or two in June. Maybe one in June, one in July, but look out for my final two mock drafts. There'll be at the most two, at least one, to be towards kind of that June, July date as we move through the playoffs, which will be so exciting on this channel. I'll be streaming a lot, I'll be making content a lot. Please give this channel a chance if you're a hockey fan. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, and definitely leave a comment with your thoughts. This was John from Hockey. Have a good one. Peace out.